And how much money did you lose at that point?
Well, it depends on if you count the prop firm that didn't pay me out. There's an algo that moves price, right? That's all it is. There's no supply and demand. There's no buyers and selling pressure. It's all an algo. That's what I believe personally.
What's going on, everybody? This is James Storms. This is going to be episode 2 of the Fortunes Funding Experience. I have my friend, my client, Harrison here. Introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? My name is Harrison. Got with Fortunes Funding about 3-4 months ago after it started. Got some payouts and happy to be here and share my story a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Harrison is definitely someone I respect with trading. You know, like we became friends before I even started the firm.
Yeah.
You know, just through social media. This is the first time we actually met. But tell us a little bit, you know, we're going to go through everything, your story, how you made money, how much money you made, everything. So let's talk about first, you know, where you come from and your upbringing, and then we'll transition into like the beginning of your trading journey.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town above Charlotte, North Carolina. Dad owns a manufacturing company, pallets, crates, boxes, that sort of stuff. Stay-at-home mom, great mom. Got into trading a long time ago, back in high school, coming on probably 8 years at this point. So many iterations. Failed a lot, learned a lot, and, you know, still learning. So it's been cool to kind of see the progression of things, and now we're here, right?
You went to college?
Yes, went to Florida State, actually.
Florida State? What did you study?
Well, it was computer science, cybersecurity, which is what I did.
Were your parents very, like, adamant about you going to school?
Yeah, I think it was important. You know, I think it was important, and I wanted to go. Did a lot of ethical hacking penetration testing, as they call it, in high school, and wanted to do cybersecurity, and that's, you know, trading was on the side.
Like they, you know, hack us and like show us
show
us where we have
exploits. Our vulnerabilities,
yeah.
and then we'll fix them. It's funny, based off that, I got into crypto, started programming blockchains, started coding, you know, Bitcoin literally, and then I was like, man, this is more than just a coding opportunity. This is, you know, I can make some money off this.
At what point did you find out about trading? How old were you?
15? 14, 15. So
really, like about crypto?
Yeah. Crypto was even sooner than that, probably 13, 14.
Yeah.
But, you know, started buying into crypto a little bit, 15,
Yeah,
16.
I was the same way because my parents like were very adamant about me going to school.
Yeah.
Even though it's ironic because it's the same, you know, with you. Like your father has a successful business. My parents, you know, they don't have huge, you know, businesses, but they had small businesses. My mom, you know, has an auto body shop. My dad has his own, you know, metal restoration shop, works with his hands. So I saw two, you know, of my parents that were successful in their own respect, didn't go to school, you know, and it's tough like for it to be effective when you're saying go to school, but you didn't even do that. Like that's why I looked at it. I was like, my parents didn't even do this. Like, why am I gonna do this? You know, and I just knew it wasn't for me. Like I always knew, like I never wanted to go to school. As soon as I got into middle school, like I just never, even elementary school, like I would miss school all the time.
Yeah.
I would not do my homework, so it wasn't for me. But so you went to school. I found out about crypto when I was like 12 years old or 13 years old. So like, it was like $2, you know.
Yeah. I remember when Bitcoin was very low. I wish I would have had more capital to put in back then. But,
yeah.
You know, it was a learning experience.
We all do.
Yeah, we all did. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
you find out about crypto early, 13 years old, roughly. Obviously, we're not really looking at it as investment vehicles. I was, you know, operating on the Silk Road, you know, whatever. So you find out about crypto, and then, you know, you understand like there's alternative, like it just is a gateway into like the niche, basically.
Yeah, and I was a very like studious, you know, person in high school. You know,
like you were by the book. Like,
it was. There was no
straight A's.
There was no partying. There was none of that. It was just all work, programming, and you know, it was good. Like I got into a lot of stuff very early, and but the day trading didn't really start until I'd probably say college.
Okay.
I did a little bit of day trading crypto in high school, but it was more just studying the algorithms and all these different blockchains and, you know, acyclic graphs and all these.
So what was your first interaction with, let's say, Forex? You know, because crypto is one thing, but like Forex is where you find out about Forex. That's where you're
It was through IM Academy, actually.
Oh, great.
IM. Everybody knows what IM is, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I met some great people in IM, but
I mean, they listen. At the end of the day, they brought I think they have another company now or whatever, but they bring a lot of people.
Yeah.
The MLM great. It brings
has its
people
value,
in,
yeah.
and you realize like, okay, this is not offering me any trading value. Like
Right.
I can do the MLM company. Not many people want to do that, but they see, okay, well, there is a potential to make money here, but I got to go somewhere else. That's most, like 90% of people that come through IM. They said, yeah, I got into IM. I realized this was bullshit, and then I pivoted and started.
Yeah,
learning.
you keep up with some of the people. Like I'm still, good friends with a couple of the guys.
Yeah, there are talented traders,
Yeah,
but the focus is not the trading. The focus is the recruitment.
Right, which is not obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got into IM, and then at one point did you realize like this isn't it? I gotta go.
Yeah, it was probably when they were just pushing the whole let's go get more people, and I'm like,
right.
But I want to make money trading. I don't care about how many. I mean, I want to help people and like bring them in, but like that's not why I'm in this, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, so throughout college, I went through a bunch of different iterations, studied a lot of stuff. I started with algorithms. Mm-hmm. So No Nonsense Forex is a really good channel on YouTube for algo trading, building an algorithm with confirmation indicators, baseline, ATR, all these different concepts. And it was great. I built a system for the Dow trading US 30. Mm-hmm.
And I remember you.
Yeah.
When we first started talking.
And it works really well. I actually got some like really solid offers for people wanting to buy it, 6-figure offers. Problem with me is I needed something where I could get more than one signal a week. I was getting impatient. So I was losing accounts because I was jumping the gun. It's like I had all the reasons to take a trade, but it's like, I took one the day before and it wasn't.
Right.
So I started looking at, now what I do is price action trading, so ICT-based stuff. Yep. Spent the last year, at least 2,000 hours the past year just, sit in my room studying constantly, ICT. And I mixed it in with some of the indicator stuff that I learned in the past. But that's really what I'm doing now is straight price action.
So how long was it when you first got introduced? Give me the timeline. You started doing No Nonsense for algo, and then at what point was ICT? Like, what's the timeline?
Okay, so
and how much money did you lose at that point?
Well, it depends on if you count the prop firm that didn't pay me out originally.
Everything.
Yeah. So was it Funding Talent? Funding Talent was the first prop firm that I went with back like 2019, 2020. Okay. That's when I was kind of getting into Forex. Right. You can call it luck or whatever, but I was supposed to get a $250,000 payout, somewhere around there, 200 plus.
Oh, it's not luck. Luck is part of trading.
Yeah, and didn't get it, right? And that was crushing.
It's probability based. Like when you win, it's technically like you luck was in your, like you have high probability luck, but you can also get unlucky as well.
You have an edge. You have an edge. So, exactly. So I guess if you count that as like a loss, which technically it was, I based expenses and everything else off that money I was supposed to get, didn't get it. So
$40 million is crazy. Not to get paid out.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Just saying before off the camera, like I would be knocking on doors, hiring the squad, and we're at your door. Like, hey, funny comment, remember me?
Yeah. So there was that. There were some personal accounts. I feel like personally I didn't lose a whole lot. I've done a lot more with prop firms. And a lot of demo accounts, which I'm glad I did that. I didn't blow through a ton of like live capital.
Well, you got introduced to like most people don't go down the algorithm path first. Like
right, the algo path was
because that was good for you because you don't really need like when you're creating a system, you actually don't really. Yeah. It actually removes a lot of the emotions.
It does. I miss that part of it sometimes.
Like almost all the emotions. So like you're able to back test and even just do a simulation,
right?
And you already know like what the efficacy is going to be of it, right?
Right.
There's no emotions involved in that.
Yeah, and
so
this
you
system
wouldn't really lose much money actually.
Yeah, and this system was super solid, and maybe I'll still use it in the future. It works. It still works great, But with the price action I'm doing now, there is some more emotional control that's involved.
Right. When you're manually trading, there's always going to be that element of like money, is a factor, and it definitely can make you make bad decisions.
My biggest enemy has been over trading the past 2 years. It's so like really recently, the past like couple months, I've been working on like a specific time frame. So like now I'm trading 2 to 3 p.m. every afternoon, NASDAQ futures. That's what I've tested, a lot of spreadsheet work, a lot of back testing, forward testing, live testing. And, I think it just takes a lot of trying different instruments. If you're trading US 30, trading NASDAQ, trading whatever it is, or Forex pairs. Like you need to find a pair or two that you can back test with your specific rules and go back. Like, if it's the minute chart, maybe you can only go back a month. Right. Then you got to forward test that data, trade it for 3 months and then you got, 3-4 months worth of data. It all depends, If you're on the daily chart, you can do 5 years.
That's a reason ultimately for most people's demise is that they don't even know their edge.
Yeah, they don't know their edge. They don't
have
stats,
data.
Yeah.
They don't know anything. Like they're just trying a strategy and executing it
and hoping it works.
The way they think they should. But like, you have to have stringent discipline and you know, there needs to be a methodology that repeatable methodology. Like, okay, this is my entry for this reason. This is my entry signal. This is for me at least, it's like I have my fundamental bias.
Yep.
Then I have a higher time frame technical bias, and then I, you know, time frame correlation, go down the lower time frame.
Right.
Then I have an entry signal for, you know, could be break of structure, you know, trend line break, this Fibonacci, whatever.
Yeah.
Price action, and then the parameters for the stop loss and the take profit.
Yeah.
But you have to know like what the reasons are, and you have to be able to repeat them and do the same thing over and over again. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the ICT concepts, like a lot of people are getting into ICT. Like he's blown up. I mean, I remember when he had barely anybody following him, and now it's like what? Like he's getting close to 1 million.
Right.
So clearly, like a big influence. And it's like you can learn all these.
Where on Twitter or YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah.
You can learn all these concepts. Like I've watched pretty much every single one of his videos. I've taken detailed notes on almost all of his videos, if not all. But it's still, you still got to like choose a specific setup. Like you can't trade everything. Like for me, I was trying to trade, you know, order blocks, fair value gaps, like liquidity voids, like new week opening gaps, like all these different concepts. I was trying to trade all of them every you know, Forex pair, and it just wasn't working. And like I had some success, but now that I've narrowed it down to like a certain time of day that I only open the charts, you know, 2 to 3 for me in this, you know, current time, and then, you know, NASDAQ, like it's really narrowed it down. Like I'm not stressing all day. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night trading London all the time. Because you got to think, is it sustainable? Is what I'm doing, like, can I do this for the next 5-10 years? Like with my hedge fund, like that's what I'm hoping to do, right?
That's something that's so big that people don't really understand in trading, is that in most scenarios in life, the more effort you put in, the more time, it equals more results.
Yeah, not trading.
But in the gym, when you're trading your time for money, more hours, more results, right?
Yeah.
But in trading, it's really not. It can
be the reverse.
It's more. It's actually the opposite, because
opposite,
you only get so much limited energy. Like trading is exhausting. You get fatigued. You get tired. You make mistakes when you're tired. You miss things. You're not dialed in. So the one thing about trading is that you need to, obviously you got to put your time in when you're first starting. But once you refine your rules, you refine your system, you're really just repeating the same behaviors at the same time. Like I trade either New York or London. I don't touch Asia anymore. Bro, I used to trade at 3 p.m., 4 p.m., like 4:30 p.m. I'd enter a trade and then like get blown out by spread and swaps and everything. And at this point, I just realized like, okay, like, you know, the market's not going to move really much. Like the odds of, it's all about probabilities, right? What's the probability the market's going to move at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time? Like very low, unless something crazy happens. But that's fine. If I miss that, sure. But I know my market's moving between 1:30, 2 a.m. London, you know, pre-London, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. If I don't see my entry signals in that time period, I'm off that, you know. Or New York, 8 a.m., 8, 9, New York Stock Exchange open, 9:30, 10, 11, you know, at that window, 8 to 11 roughly. If I don't see my signals, what are the odds, like the odds that is going to keep going or even present the, you know, or even have a big move? Let's say I enter at 1 p.m. or 2. I mean, you can have, you know, the PM session, there's definitely a move in like the 2 to 3 p.m.
Yeah, there's different time macros that, as ICT teaches it, there's an algo that moves price, right? That's all it is. There's no supply and demand. There's no buyers and selling pressure. It's all an algo. That's what I believe personally after seeing all this stuff. And there's these different time, he calls them kill zones, right?
Right.
You know, there's the
London kill zone.
Yeah, you know all that. You've watched some of it probably.
I've seen some of it.
I agree with you.
I've been wanting to go through the whole course.
Man, it is a lot of content. If you go through the whole 2016, 2017 core content, then you do 2022, 2023, because, you know, they're different models, different years. Yeah. It's a lot of content. You can watch it, but to really try to apply it and digest it, man, it's a lot.
Overwhelming.
But it's so cool once you see it through that lens.
Right.
I mean, I can look at any future. I can look at like cattle futures and be like, you know, this is where liquidity's at. These are where the order blocks. You know all the concepts. Right. So it is pretty cool. It applies to everything. So
I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe to the whole thing that there's no like type. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna denounce anything, but I'm very big fundamentally, and like I know, like ever since I learned macroeconomics, I've been able to like really just understand where the markets are moving, like long term, and why.
Yeah,
like,
it's huge. Yeah, interest rates and all that stuff.
Yeah,
very big.
Central banks, interest rates, looking at unemployment data, looking at inflation data, looking at
seasonal tendencies,
manufacturing data, seasonal tendencies.
You know those, you know, different periods of the year where certain currencies
you need both.
Are up.
You need both. Right. I think the best, you know, it's like can you trade with just technicals? Yeah. Can I, if I do this, can I see? Yeah, I can
Right,
see.
but you don't get the whole picture.
What's over here?
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
it's the same thing. So,
Yeah.
all right. So you got it. You got into ICT. It was obviously a big game changer for you. You know,
Yeah, it was.
definitely. So
Yeah.
let's talk now a little bit about like, you know, your journey at that from there up until this point. You know, so we became friends. We were talking, you were trading personal capital. I know whatever details you want to share about that, by all means. And then let's talk about, Fortunes Funding and kind of your experience with us, fully honest, transparent, like from start to finish. As a customer, obviously we're friends, but
Right.
just be completely brutally honest. If
Definitely.
if we sneeze the wrong way, I want you to let me know,
Well, yeah, I guess to touch on, when we met, you stood out to me because you put your FX book up on Instagram. I think we all know there's a lot of people in this industry that aren't being honest about
the thing about that is, bro,
Yeah.
is that like when I didn't even know like the extent of how like fucked up everything is.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty bad.
How fraudulent, because at the end of the day, my FX book actually like doesn't really, because again, they have marketing accounts, which is just a fake live account,
right.
so like.
So you can fake everything.
Bro, you can
everything.
make a live account and you can trade it and you can delete the trades and there's nothing that you can't do.
Yeah,
like everything can
yeah.
be completely fabricated. So.
Yeah.
And even blockchain receipts you could fake too. Like I have my blockchain withdrawals, like Bitcoin withdrawal, but like you could just literally deposit money in the broker and then withdraw it and then say, yeah, well look, I withdrew $1 million. Here's my,
That's true.
You could literally fake everything, bro. So at this point, I don't care. I don't care what anyone else is doing. Like,
that's
it
probably
has
the best way
no
I
relevancy
agree.
to me.
That's probably the only way you can tackle it is like, because you have all these people that are selling this idea that they know how to trade, but generally they're just selling a course or something.
I mean, listen, if you really like, I watch everything. Like people that are small, 1K followers, 100K followers, 200K. I pay attention to how you speak. Like, are you eloquent? Are you actually understand like what the fuck you're talking about? Do you understand macroeconomics? Because like that's important. Like if you don't even, if you can't spell the word like a word properly, like I probably think you're just an idiot, to be honest with you. Like, or if you don't know the difference between there, and there, like little things like that, I pay attention to that.
The small details matter.
Like if this is how you're portraying yourself,
Right.
like to the public. So I think that's really important. So like you have to really be very detail oriented. And I think without even knowing for sure, you can kind of know like, okay, this guy's more legit, like this guy's not.
Right. I mean, I guess you hit the nail on the head. Like focus on yourself. Like, you can look at these people all day. I mean, maybe go try out their course. If it's not too expensive for you personally, go try it out. But at the end of the day, like there is a lot of fraud and there's a lot of people that are just selling a course. They don't really know how to trade. So,
Yeah, what's the focus? Like are they at dinner like this? Oh, look at my watch. Look at my car every day. Cars. Like it's cool. Like you have nice things and you should be proud of it, but what is the focus and like what type of value do you provide and like do you really know what the fuck you're talking about? You know, simple as that.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, in regards to that, like for me at least, like I always, it's kind of funny because like the same people I came up looking up to, and I was like, oh, look at like, because trading is tough, like I went through a very dark place in trading. So when I was down bad, I was looking at these people like, well, they can do it, like I can do it, and it's just shit was all fake anyway. So it's just ironic, But inspiration, like you need to be inspired. You need to look at somebody and be like, yeah, like what, I'm not here, but I want to go in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, and what you did with posting the FX book, whether or not you can fake it or not, like that was inspiring to me.
It's not fake.
I know it's not.
I don't care what anybody says.
Right. Yeah,
it's not fake.
It's not, and yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like seeing that was inspiring, right? Like it was like, wow, this is like, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is somebody who's actually showing live results and putting it out there and whatnot. So,
I mean, listen, like I can prove that is all. Like I can literally show the trades. I can show everything. I can show the signals that I called with the same parameters. Like why, if I was calling great trades and taking great, why would I not put my own capital behind it?
Yeah,
type of thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I ran a signal chat for a long time. Like really since. Like September, October of last year. I just closed it recently, but we generated at least 100 R in that time period.
Yeah.
Which is really good when you consider what hedge funds are making, right? Like most hedge funds are returning 20 to 30 R a year. We return 100. I know your chat's killing it as well.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
You've been on and off, but like.
Yeah, well, again, when I launched Fortunes, like.
That's your focus,
all my resources went in there. But in terms of when you're like a hedge fund is a little different because like.
It is. Yeah,
when you're dealing with big capital, liquidity becomes a problem.
Definitely.
So like even pricing in and pricing out of the trade trade is not the same as like
definitely not the same as
your $1,000 account or whatever.
right.
You know, that's like 0.01 or you know whatever. So I mean, there's levels to this shit, obviously, but my boy's behind the camera, but it's all good. But all right, so let's talk about Fortunes Funding. You know, like an outsider looking in. You saw me launch the company. Like, what was your, you know, like, what made you decide? Like, I want to. Aside from just me, like, I mean, that's a big part of it.
Yeah. So obviously, like you being the head of it was huge. To be honest, AirJFX, I really like their spreads and. Like some of these, especially some of the firms were with 8-cap for a while, and I'm not the biggest fan of 8-cap. I've had some issues with them, and I know a lot of people have moved away from them, and we're with Think Markets now, which is Think Markets is fine.
I mean, listen, like I have said bad things about 8-cap, and like after I learned a little more about like how things work, actually, most of the trading conditions are set by the firm.
Okay.
So this is something that people like should definitely be educated on. You have to understand that you're trading a demo account. Like it's always demo accounts, right? Whether phase 1, phase 2, funded, it's always demo unless you're like you're on your 5th payout and like it makes more sense for the business to A book you versus B book you, right?
Right.
So which people do get A booked, like don't get me wrong, but it's few and far between. So with a demo account comes it's difficult to replicate the execution on a live account. Like the way these systems work is they have you know there's an order book right in the live account, meaning like there's a depth of liquidity, right? If you want like current price is here and you could trade 10 lots at this and get this price, but the moment you go you deplete like the order book at this price, you dip into the next price, which is more expensive, and then if you trade more than that, you deplete 2 levels, then you get the next price and the next price. Like so, the higher the lot size you trade, the more slippage you're going to receive.
Right. You're not going to fill the whole thing.
Right. So on demo accounts, there's no order book because there's no liquidity.
You just fill instantly.
Right. So a lot of people complain about slippage and this and that, and unfortunately, it's just part of the business because it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to perfectly replicate a live environment. And there's a lot of people on these prop firms that just are scalping all day long, 50 lots, 100 lots. So like, if we're not, you know, if the firms are not careful about how things get executed, you can literally bankrupt, you know, your business, or you can like it just won't be good. It just won't be good, or you'll be offering trading conditions that are just unrealistic. And like as a firm, you can't. It's just not sustainable to do that. I'm not saying you won't go bankrupt, but it will definitely hurt your firm for sure. And that's you know just the nature of the business, like you know because it's demo accounts, like so you know I mean
some of them are 99% are.
I mean we definitely we're working on an instant funding option, which is all A book, like you know there's no
because it is interesting, like for somebody who does feel like they're going to get a lot of payouts, you know, making sure that even if they're large that the firm can pay out.
I mean, everyone will get paid out. Like I
have every bit of confidence in Fortunes Funding. Obviously, not with funding talent, but
there's ways to manage risk. Like there's a reason why like a lot of firms have lot size limits and all these things because
there's ways to
just you know it's better to be around than to offer some crazy conditions and then not be around and nobody gets paid out.
Yeah, it's a little bit of give and take. You got to balance.
It's a balance with everything. You know,
I can see that.
There's definitely amazing opportunities with prop firms. You know,
there really is, because you're not at the end of the day you're not risking. You know, if right now I'm managing $400K for y'all. And that's not $400K of my own money that I can lose, right?
Of course
so
not.
even if I have to give you 10 or 20%, you know, I think I have a 90% split with y'all, but even if I have to give you 10%, like, you know, if I trade my own capital, I get 10% more, but I'm risking all that money. So it just makes sense to stick with this model, you know.
Yeah, for me, I never did the prop firms. You know, it wasn't even really popularized. Like when I started trading 2017.
Yeah,
so like,
it wasn't as big.
The only thing really was FTMO, and I just stuck with my trading my own capital. But I think I think it's a great tool. I personally, for me, I'm just riskier like than most. You know, so if I want to go in a drawdown of 10%, 20%, like that's just
you're more of an aggressive model trader.
Yeah, so like I prop firms don't necessarily fit my style. Like because I'd rather take a small capital and be risky with it and flip it up to like a large amount, make withdrawals.
And maybe I should try more of that. Like that's something that I might explore in the next like year or so. Is doing more of like what you've done, because my win rate is really high.
Yeah, I would just say start small.
Right. Yes.
You know, and definitely when I'm building an account, my goal is to not go crazy with the risk initially, build some type of profit, and then start to risk those profits. Once you're in profit,
then you're trading with the house's money, right?
mentally, I'm just like this is not even my. Remember, because it's not your money until it's in your pocket, in your bank account.
Yeah, and
it's never your money. If it's in the trading account, if it's floating profit, if it's not closed, it's not yours.
Yeah, so take withdrawals. Like that's
and that's a big psychological.
That's a big part of advice I would give anybody who's just starting is like take those withdrawals. Like if you make some crazy 50, 100% in a week on like your small $1,000 account, like take something out.
I traded for like 3.5 years and I might have made one withdrawal.
Oh, I know. I was the same way when I first started. There was not any withdrawals.
I had 10K days, 20K days, 30K days, 40K days, no withdrawals. The moment I made that first $100,000 withdrawal back at the end of 2020, changed my whole life.
Yeah, right.
I had, I had the cash, literally the cash in my hand, like I touched it.
Because you never know, like the broker might mess with you. They might screw you over. Like I know that you were with Nash, right? You had the experience with Nash. I had one with, I won't name them. I had an experience with a popular broker, and we had six.
Listen, you can name them, bro. This is a safe place, bro. Like we want people to know, like, and it's not bashing them, but like
Yeah, you got to be careful what you say. Like.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, I'll just throw it out there. It was Caught Forex.
Okay.
I had an account with them. Me and my buddy, we worked mid six figure range with this account from a small 5-figure range, and we were heavily leveraging Bitcoin. We were trading crypto, and they went into maintenance and they didn't announce it to us, and we lost the whole account. I mean, they didn't tell us, like, I don't know what the time was. Let's just say it was like 8 to 12 in the evening, and we were in the large trade right before. They didn't tell us. Market plummeted. We lost.
They didn't send out any emails or anything.
No, and that's not maybe they do now. Like I'm not with them anymore, but that was just my experience with that firm. I'm not saying they're that way. Maybe they've gotten better, but between that and the funding talent, I've lost $500,000, right? So it just silly stuff that I never could have seen that happening, right? But that you live and learn, you don't over leverage. Like that's why now my risk is literally 2% max per position. Like I never go over 2%. So I just tell people like keep the leverage low. Like you got the next 30, 40 years to trade. You don't need to make. It's nice to make 100K in a month, but you don't have to do that. Like you can take it slow. Like
when you go fast, you go slow.
Right.
That's why, like every time I try going fast,
it never works out.
I ended up going slow. Trading is climbing a mountain, and if you want to try and run up a mountain, good luck. You're gonna slip, you're gonna fall, you're gonna tumble down the mountain, break every bone in your body.
And you feel better when you're disciplined
on the way down, and then you're gonna lay there with your broken body, and you're gonna be like, "What? Oh my God, what did I just do?"
Right, and then you gotta build it all back up,
all the way back up the mountain.
Right.
You know. So
I mean,
yeah. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just going to add in, like, with the prop firms, like, you're going to lose a bunch of challenges. So we should talk about that.
Yeah, of course.
It's taken me a lot of challenges to get funded.
Yeah,
I know a lot.
So how many do you know in total?
How many between
just on Fortunes?
Just on Fortunes. Probably like, till I got funded, probably like six. But, I mean, there was more with some other firms that I tried in the past. It's definitely been a process where if I would have taking it more slowly, like you were saying, and just taking a step back. Like you don't have to trade every day. Like
there's this dial the risk down. No time limits. It's different.
Right.
With the time limits,
that's huge.
It was
that's a game changer. That's like the biggest.
With the time limits, it's a little different. Right. But now no time limits. You really don't have to. Yeah, like you can, because remember when you risk 1% of 100,000, let's say, right, which is $1,000. Your available drawdown is only $10,000. So really think about it. It's a $10,000 account that you have.
And 5K daily.
Right. So when you risk 1%, you're really risking 10%, which is a large amount to risk because every trader is going to have loss streaks. And then you're going to lose 3, 4, 5%, right, over a couple of days. And then you're going to be demoralized. And then you're going to either make a stupid decision, you're going to risk too much, or you're not going to be on point with your psychology. So I would definitely say 0.5%, 1/4%. Because what's better, failing 10 challenges over 3 months or taking one challenge very slow?
Yeah, getting like one payout.
And letting your edge truly play out over time. Because like your edge is not necessarily going to play out every week or every month. It's going to take time for your edge to play out. So give it time. Just slow is fast.
And even if your win rate is, let's say, 70%, there's still somewhat, maybe a 1% chance that you're going to lose 5 trades in a row. So if you're risking, 2%, you're still going to lose your account, right?
Right.
So, I mean, get your win rate up. Like for me lately, it's been really focusing on win rate because my risk reward is ridiculous. It's always, 1 to 5 or better. Generally, it's 1 to 10, 1 to 15. But my win rate for like the past 6 months, now it's getting better. But that was like a huge thing I had to work on. Like I wasn't hitting enough, right? So, everybody can work on something, whether it's risk reward, win rate, lowering the leverage, taking your time. Like there's just so many elements. And you got to keep learning. Got to go back and back test, get everything in spreadsheets. Like that's what I've been doing lately is really getting back to the whole spreadsheet thing. Like, you should have 15, 20 questions for every single trade you take. If you don't have that, how are you going to know like the exact conditions that make it optimal, that make it high probability. You're not.
Right.
You know, you got to spreadsheet everything.
Right.
It's very important.
Yeah, if you don't really know yourself and your edge, like you're gonna be.
I use TradeZella as well. Great platform. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, yeah,
it's kind of risen. TradeZella is incredible.
I've never used it, but yeah.
It's only like $60 a month, and you can. It pays itself off, you know, the first 2 days of trading, right? Like it's
investing
very cool.
in the ancillaries to trading is important. Like
journaling is so important.
Get yourself a laptop to trade on. Don't trade on your phone. Get yourself a monitor. Get yourself like, you know, a TradingView Pro. Get yourself like
TradingView Pro, too.
Like set yourself up for success. Like everyone wants to like save every dollar. Like invest in courses, invest in material. Like you know, that's what you need.
Yeah, well, and ICT is free on YouTube.
Right.
So that's even better, right? Like the guy's made enough money, he doesn't need to charge.
Right.
But yeah, invest in yourself. Like even like with TradingView, like the futures charts, you got to do a little add-on so you don't get delayed data by 10 minutes. If you're trading like ESU 2023, right, or something like that, you know, you're trading YMU, which is the Dow. How are you going to trade that if you're 10 minutes behind in your data feed? And most people don't even buy the add-on to trade futures, right? Because we all trade CFDs, contracts for difference. That's the vehicle by which we trade.
Right.
But looking at a futures chart is a lot cleaner. You can see, you know, all the gaps and everything. So let's dive in a little bit deeper, but you know, just. It's the little things that add up. TradeZella subscription, you know, maybe you get on my FX book, you know.
Yeah, data. It's data to look at.
Like, you need the data, right? Yeah, you need the data.
You need to know is what I'm doing really effective, like, because there's so many variables that you need to like isolate, you know.
Yeah.
Because like if you're again, there's a lot of whimsicalities to trading. Like people risk differently every time. They do this differently every time. Repeat the behavior again and again and again.
You got to know what you're doing wrong, right?
Analyze the data. Yeah. This was right. This was wrong. Change this. Okay. Do more testing, more data, more feedback. You know, type of thing. So, let's talk about your payouts.
Yeah. So with Fortunes Funding, upwards 23.5, 24K range.
24K.
That
about
was
3 months or so.
Well, yeah, all those would have been pretty recent.
Yeah. 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months because I got funded in like maybe beginning of July.
Oh, okay.
Or in June, sometime around then.
Yeah.
Because I took the challenge around like May. I think it was when I.
Okay.
So it's pretty recent.
Months,
yeah, it took maybe a month to get funded, something like that.
Right.
And yeah.
And how was that process?
What, the process of getting funded?
Yeah, getting funded, getting paid, like payouts, everything.
With y'all, it's been very smooth. I mean, requested the payout and got it within like, I guess it was like 4 or 5 days. You know, through deal. You know, going to be easy to track tax-wise. So, I've been very satisfied with how that process went. It's been good. Yeah,
great.
Definitely.
Shout out to my team.
Yeah, shout out, definitely. Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, I definitely think we just covered a lot in a short span of time. But is there anything that you like? What do you want people at home watching to take away, like from your journey or just in general?
I would say biggest thing is it just takes time. You know, like don't be hard on yourself if it takes you 2 more years, 3 more years. Like if you're just getting started, like you got to expect that. Like you got to put in 5,000-10,000 hours to really be good at something, and that applies to trading just as much. I mean, I'm probably upwards of 10,000 hours at this point. And I'm just now getting consistent, and I've learned from a dozen different people, tried a dozen different courses, tried a bunch of different firms. Glad I'm with y'all. And another thing we should talk about is prop firms versus hedge funds, because I think that's an interesting topic. I know that we discussed that. So like I have a hedge fund, Black Crown Capital. It's not open yet, and that's primarily because of firms like yours. The profit split is just so much bigger than a hedge fund, right? I can take 20%. If I'm with you, I take 80, 90%. So there becomes this trade-off. Like I know a lot of people, like I've had friends ask me, like, should I open a fund now? Like I have mine. It's not operational. I'm still like trying to pull in capital and working with prop firms, but it's like you should wait until you have, let's say, for example, with y'all, hypothetically, I have $500,000, right? At 90% split. My split's 20%. So that's 4.5x, 4.5x, that puts me up to like 2 million. I need to get 2 million from somebody for it to equal 500K with you. Right. And with you, it's a simple contract. I don't got to deal with like, some family member gives you money. There's a lot of legalities. Yeah, there's a lot of emotional stuff. You're managing a friend's money. So it's interesting, like this trade-off between starting a fund and doing a prop firm.
Money and friends and family don't mix.
Yeah, you got to be really careful.
Stuff that ask me all the time. My uncle, I'm just like, I'm like, bro, I'm not doing. I just said I'm not doing it.
It's just not worth it.
And they get mad, and I'm just like, dude, it's just not for me. Like, it's just like, because again, if I'm always thinking about like risk aversion when it comes to friends and family. You don't want to put yourself in unless they know they're fully like, if they're traders, it's a little different. But most people expect like, oh, you're making so much money, you're doing so well. Like, yeah, trade $5,000. And I'm just like, no.
It's better to partner with a firm like yours where you're not family and friends don't get involved. It's different if you're a veteran, you've been doing it for 10 years and you have 5 million in payouts. That's a little bit different. Then, you know, maybe a little bit more trust is involved, but
Right.
you know, I'm somewhere in the middle, getting there, but so.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think that was solid. Again, Harrison
Talked about a lot.
Yeah, we're also let's talk. Last final thing, but where are we right now?
Miami.
We're in Miami.
We're in Miami.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, like you know, this is what we want to do. We want to show traders, we want to show people, you know, real people, real traders,
Right.
what their methodology is, what their process is, what their journey is like, you know, and I think, you know, the more that we do, like, you guys will really be able to see, like, the value in that of, you know, what it really takes, you know, because a lot of you guys, like, you're not at your best. Let's be honest. Like, you know, you're not 110%. You're not 10 toes down in the books in this. You're not, you know, there's no bullshit. Remember you said no partying, none of this. Like, you're very studious, very
you got to focus for a long time,
detail oriented, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, we want to have experience now. You know, now that we wrapped up the podcast, pretty much, we're gonna you know, have some dinner, have some fun,
Definitely.
pool party tomorrow.
Yeah.
Gonna catch some vibes, a little bit of champagne, you know, everywhere. So, yeah, that's the plan, you know, and we're gonna have some fun. So, any of you guys watching out there, like, you make 10K on Fortunes Funding, and you're gonna be in that seat, 10K or more. Anybody, you know, that's we already have more people lined up to come, but bro, I appreciate you. You know,
Absolutely.
like, it's definitely a pleasure to finally meet you for sure.
Definitely, yeah, it's
you
been
know,
a long
we're gonna
time
have some
coming,
fun
yeah.
over the next couple of days. But yeah, no, I appreciate everyone watching. You know, enjoy the rest of your evening wherever you're at. Stay locked in, get focused, get serious. Like, this shit will really change your life.
Yeah, just
But
put the
you
time in. It's a time game, right?
Yeah.
Time
You
and
know,
patience.
Resist all those temptations. Like, you know what you're supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
but it's like you want to.
And if you don't, go back test. Like, study more and then back test, because it goes, learn the info. Like with ICT, watch all the videos, then go back
Well,
test.
most people don't.
Most
People, yeah, you could say scream until you're blue in the face, do this, and people won't do it. Like,
Right,
you have
It's
to
a time thing.
rewire
Yeah,
your brain
Yeah.
to enjoy the things that are not so enjoyable. It's dopamine and serotonin. You know, like, there's so much dopamine, scrolling,
Right,
drugs, food, you know, fun, like doing things. Like, you need to put your time in, plant
Right.
your seeds, water, sunlight, water, sunlight. You have your plants, and then you're growing a garden, and then you can start. Then you can have fun forever.
Right,
you know,
right.
like, it's the time.
Yeah, it's an ATM machine once you build it, but first you got to get your
can have
system
fun
locked in. You got
forever,
to get your
man.
the psychology too.
Yeah.
I know we touched on that a little bit, but you got the psychology. You could have. I could give anybody my
Yeah.
system, but if they don't have the psychology, they're never
Yeah,
gonna
get
make
in the
money.
gym, get disciplined. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, get, like, have some daily pain, like
Right.
some type of, like,
Cold
something-
shower every morning. I don't know.
Yeah.
Little things like that
Ice
matter.
baths,
right?
cold showers,
Yeah.
run 10 miles, go in the gym, lift heavy weight,
Yeah.
like, eat some good food, you know, some things that aren't, like, you know, that aren't the tastiest foods in the world, but, like,
Right.
food is not meant to be pleasurable, like, it's meant to fuel your body,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
So I'll leave you guys with that. Everyone, take it easy. Fortunes Funding Experience number 2, Harrison. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, James.
Yep. Take it easy.